When you click this video, you probably already heard about this case, or you are just curious to know more. Well, if you haven't heard about it by now, it's a case that has been getting national attention, especially in Indonesia, where the case took place. I've been following this case religiously and wanted to make a video of it, but due to so many inconsistencies in this story by all the people involved, I decided to wait a little more till everything gets more clear. And now it's time to unfold the story. To tell the case in short, it involved a man named Ferdi Sambo, who is quite an important figure in the Indonesian National Police. He is an inspector general who killed his subordinate, Brigadier Yosua, or more known as Brigadier J. The guy, Ferdi Sambo, killed Yosua by instructing his other subordinate to shoot Yosua for him. And not just that, Sambo then created whole new lies about the chronology of the incident. He even gets so many other individuals to work for him to hide the real incident that happens. From faking the incident chronology, changing the CCTV footage, and committing obstruction of justice. That's why this case gets so big, because it includes brutal killing, misuse of power, and the relationship between the suspect and the victims. To get things started, let's start with just who are the main people who are involved in this case and their relationship with one another. The first, of course, is Ferdi Sambo, the perpetrator. Then the victim, Brigadier Yosua, who is also the driver and the bodyguard of Sambo's wife, Putri Chandrawati. Others who are involved are Sambo's driver, Kuat Ma'ruf, and Sambo's two personal assistants, Officer Richard and Officer Ricky. The relationship between Sambo's family and Yosua is not just a regular relationship between superiors and subordinates. It's more intimate than that. Putri Chandrawati herself considers Yosua as her son and she even celebrates Yoshua's birthday. There are also formal photos of them together as a family taken. So now we know what their relationship is. Then why is Sambo, the mastermind of this case, kill Yosua, who is already considered a son to him? To be honest, the exact real motive is still not conclusive. According to Sambo himself, the reason that he killed Yosua is that Yosua committed sexual assault on his wife, Putri Chandrawati. Other motives that are also floating on the internet vary, from telling that Yosua knows Sambo's alleged illegal gambling business, to actually Sambo, who is the one being fooled by her wife, who is having an affair with his driver, Kuat Ma'ruf. And this affair is known by Yosua, so to not let Yosua tell the affair to Sambo, Putri Chandrawati and Kuat Ma'ruf tell a lie to Sambo that Yosua sexually assaults her, and so on and so on. But it's all just all over the place now, and the real motive is yet to be confirmed. Now, let me explain what happened on the day of the incident. The chronology takes place on July 8, 2022. The time is around 5 PM. Sambo's wife, Putri Chandrawati, Kuat Ma'ruf, Ricky, Richard, and Yosua were in the same vehicle on their way from Sambo's house at Saguling to Sambo's other residence in Duren 3 at the time. Ferdi Sambo was in another vehicle at this moment. They stepped out of the car not long after arriving at Duren 3 residence. Kuat Ma'ruf escorted Putri Chandrawati to her room. Meanwhile, Richard proceeded to the adjutant room on the second floor, while Yosua headed to the park to answer a call. Sambo's car, on the other hand, also arrived at the residence. Sambo exited the car and entered the house while wearing a black gloves. At 5:10 PM, Ferdi Sambo, Richard, Ricky, Kuat Ma'ruf, and Yosua had gathered around the dining table inside the house. Here it is believed the argument broke between Sambo and Yosua and things get more serious. The exact conversation that they have here is unknown, but what sure is, Sambo said to Yosua that he dared to do this to him, probably implying that Yosua dared to sexually assault her wife, and Yosua was disrespectful to him. Right after, Sambo ordered Richard to shoot Yosua, who is unarmed. At first, Richard refused to follow Sambo's order, but then Sambo also threatened to kill Richard if he did not shoot Yosua. As a result of this command, Richard shot Yosua 3 times. The bullet struck the right chest, face, and left elbow. Yosua collapsed and fell face down near the front stairs as a result of Richard's gunfire. Not stopping there, Sambo then shot Yosua on the head when he was defenseless and on his stomach. Sambo fired a gun at the wall between the first and second level to make it appear as though gunfire had occurred. After the killing of Yosua, Ferdi Sambo creates a new storyline about the incident. He lies by stating that shootout happened between Richard and Yosua. This happens when Sambo says that her wife is heard to be screaming in her room, and when Richard goes to check the room, Yosua already there, holding a gun and threatening to shoot Richard. In response, Richard also takes out his gun, and a shootout begins to happen between the two of them. And following that, Yosua died by Richard, who was trying to defend himself. That's the lie in Sambo's version of the story. But this version quickly got called out for not being in line with all the proof and for the shot wound on Yosua's body. To make the lie believable, Sambo has to make Richard work with him and agree with Sambo's statement about the incident. So Richard, because he probably thinks that is the best option because he knew how powerful Sambo is and the connection that he has. He also didn't want to risk his life. But as the time goes on, more evidence gets collected. The main crucial proof is about the different bullet wound shot in the back of Yosua's head compared to the bullet wound on the front side of his body. It's a different type of gun. You see, if the shootout really happens between Yosua and Richard as Sambo stated, they must have been confronted each other with no one else involved. So why is there is two types of bullet is being shot at Yosua in two different directions? Sambo's statement is now conflicting with the proof. After this news released to the public, things got more controversial. More people believe that this is not a shootout, but an execution. Richard, on the other hand, who before this has no other choice but to follow Sambo's order, now is able to think straight and finally tell the truth about the case. He cut ties with Sambo and stated his version of the story, telling that he was forced to shoot Yosua, and if he refused, Sambo will shoot him instead. This back and forth between two sides telling different versions of the incident continues until more than 2 months, and each statement gets more and more conflicting from Sambo's side. He is clearly losing this battle. So because of this, just recently on October 5, 2022, Sambo finally pled guilty to having killed Brigadier Yosua, telling he was sorry for what he did. He says that he will accept any punishment that the judge take on him, and also says that his wife, Putri Chandrawati, is innocent and have nothing to do with the crime. Ferdi Sambo, who now has been stripped of his title as Inspector General, will be detained for his crime of killing Brigadier Yosua. Other people who are involved, like Putri Chandrawati, Quad Maruf, Richard, Ricky, and several other individuals, will also be held in jail until the final punishment for all of them is determined. As of now, the final punishment and the continuity of this case is yet been concluded by the judge. I hope that every individual who is found guilty in this case is properly punished, especially Ferdi Sambo. This case is more than just a normal case. It's a case that increases the public doubt for authorities, whose main job to protect them, but end up putting them in danger instead.